Thank you, candidates. So I'd now like to welcome up Tony Quach to deliver his speech.
So dear students and faculty members, thank you for taking the time to be here today with me. My name is Tony Quach, and I am a supply chain and marketing major currently in my third year of university, and I'm running to be your next CSA president. I have been involved with the Commerce Student Association since my first year, starting off as a general council member for the first year committee and a marketing coordinator on the CSA General Council the following year. I'm currently the CSA Vice President Marketing and Communication. This role includes the oversight of a team of 10 general council members, as well as the strategic development and implementation of numerous marketing campaigns and projects on the broad level for the CSA. Being a member of the CSA executive team this year has allowed me to see firsthand of the internal workings of the CSA and the events and services that are provided to the students. As the CSA president, I will give students the opportunity to connect with the CSA. I will enrich your experience by increasing the quality of events and student services the CSA provides, and I will further expand your opportunities and business networks to new levels. The ASPER student body plays a huge role in the success of CSA events, and I want to provide the students the opportunity to connect with the CSA to provide feedback and suggestions on what you would like to see. Students will be able to connect with the CSA through one-on-one coffee sessions, comments for cupcakes, and the creation of a feedback portal that students would have access to 24/7 through the CSA website. These are just some of my ideas to connect with the students. As all students enrolled in ASPER are part of the CSA, I will ensure your voice is heard. The feedback and suggestions gained from the students through the processes I described would be used to enrich the student experience by increasing the quality of events and student services the CSA provides. For events, I want to hear from the ASPER student body to learn what the CSA is doing well and what we can improve on. I plan on taking that information and making the CSA events the best they can be. In terms of student services, I would like to continue and expand coffee days, exam cram, and grow Student Appreciation Week to include more of what students would like to see and continuing to give students opportunities to create new experiences and build new connections. I can say that walking into ASPER 3 years ago, getting involved was not a thought of mine, and that grades were the most important thing to me. I can now confidently say that the value of my degree not only consists of how well I do in school, but also involves the experience I've gained through the events I've attended and the connections I make. The CSA has built many relationships over the last 75 years. Through resources like the Young Associates, the Associates, and business schools across Canada, CSA has the opportunity to expand your business network and allow you to make connections with local and national companies. We are part of the Canadian Association of Business Students, also known as CABS, and have been able to connect with student executives from business schools across Canada through attending conferences such as the Student Executive Roundtable Conference and the National Business School Conference. I have seen the opportunities that other business schools across Canada have, and I believe that I can use these connections with other business schools to expand the opportunities we provide to ASPER students. One of the most frequently asked questions I received throughout the week was, what is hashtag Grow to 100? The CSA was founded in 1944, meaning the CSA will be celebrating its 75th anniversary this upcoming year. Hashtag Grow to 100 is a goal I plan to focus on if I become your next CSA president. Hashtag Grow to 100 would be a project I take to focus on the implementation of a long-term strategic plan to ensure that CSA has the opportunity to grow to 100 years of providing value to the ASPER student body. This long-term strategy would consist of analyzing where the CSA currently is, where the CSA could be in the next 25 years, and resources needed to make this plan a reality. Let's connect, enrich, and expand, and vote Tony Quach to be your next president of the Commerce Student Association. Thanks for listening today.
Does anyone in the crowd have questions? Wow. Okay, we'll go to the portal if no one has questions. Are you sure anyone does not have a question? Wow, okay. Just looking at the portal here to see, I think we'll start with the same sort of thing.
Okay.
The same question that was given earlier, which is how will you put ASPER on the map? As president, how will you put ASPER on the map?
So I think, like the question asked, it's been something that's been mentioned year to year. I think putting ASPER on a map isn't something that can be done in 1 year. It will take quite a bit of time. I think by implementing a long-term strategy within the next 25 years, that could be something that we could reach. Like I said, through connections like the Associates, Searing Associates, and other business schools across Canada, I think there are lots of opportunities that we can expand the CSA to more national levels. And like the VPI candidates had mentioned, finding ways to put ASPR on the map through more conferences, more competitions. I think JDC and IECBC are good opportunities from what we've seen this year. They have place on the Canadian level, but I think we can expand that more national.
Perfect. We have some more questions now. What do you have planned to increase sponsorship for the next year and years to come?
So I think being on the executive council, I know one goal every year is always to expand our corporate sponsors, and it has always grown year to year. I think working with other business schools, seeing what opportunities they've had to build their corporate relations. I know our team this year is strong, and I know we have one of the strongest corporate partnerships across Canada compared to other business schools. But I think we can use that opportunity to work with other executives across other business schools like Ryerson or UBC and see what connections they have and use that toward our advantage.
You spoke of your project, hashtag Grow to 100. What will this strategic plan consist of?
So Grow to 100 is a long-term strategy plan I want to work on using the feedback from the student body as well as past presidents and other executives who's been in the role before. So that would conducting like a SWOT analysis for any business students, making sure seeing what our opportunities are, threats, and things like that. Also establishing a short-term goal, making sure that those goals are achievable, and then being able to modify those as we go along, as well as creating an action plan. So the long-term strategy would, like I said, bringing CSA on a more national level, making sure ASPR is being more recognized on the national level. And that's kind of what Grow to 100, hashtag Grow to 100, and that project would focus on. But again, it is a long-term plan, so making sure that it is continuously continued along within the next 25 years.
All right. How do you build the right team around you to ensure your success?
So I can say that when building the executive team and even the general counsel team, I wouldn't be basing it off friendship. I think it is all based on your attitude. Most people won't know this, but CSA is a volunteer position, so I think your attitude that you want to be there for the students, making sure that their voice is being heard is something that I really want to focus on. Of course, besides attitude, one of the questions asked previously was how to get students more involved with GC recruitment. And from personal experience, I don't think experience is something that is required. I say CSA is your opportunity to build that experience, build connections that you can. And like I said, yeah, I think attitude and even just personality is something that I would be focusing on, not friendships.
All right. What experience do you have advocating for your fellow students or coworkers?
So being on the executive team this year, like I said, I was the VP Marketing Communications. So I think that really helped me improve my my skill of advocating for students and what they want to see. With my current role as in my work scale, I oversee a team of 12. So I'm always advocating for them and what they want to see from upper management, dealing with wages or anything like that. So I think I have the opportunity to advocate for students. I've been on student council from junior high on, so I've had the skills to advocate for the students and be their voice and see what they want to see happen come true.
The portal's on fire right now, so we've got lots of questions. Why is growing to 100 specifically so important? Do you think there's a risk that we won't get there without this plan?
I don't think so. Like I said, CSA has been able to last the last 75 years with no long-term strategy plan. However, I think CSA should take more of a focus on what they want to see within the next 25 years. CSA has built such a good relationship and reputation within the last 75 years, so I wouldn't want to see that go to waste. Of course, Grow to 100 would be one of my main projects, but it wouldn't be the only project I would be focusing on. Of course, advocating for students is my main goal. Connecting with the students, hearing their feedback, suggestions, and making sure that their voice is being heard and making sure that what they want to see actually comes true. And then working with the executive team to make sure that their events also go well.
Okay, year after year, we see the president overwhelmed by their workload. So how will you find the time to create a long-term strategic plan, maybe specifically outlined?
Okay, so in regards to like time commitment and all that, for the long-term strategy, it would be more summer heavy, as I know. Most of the during the fall term and winter term, it is more as you go, as events are going on. So summer is the opportunity to build that or start and do the majority of that hashtag Grow to 100 project. I do have a flexible work hours, so I can work 40 hours a week if I want to, but I also can work 0 hours a week, which is one nice thing I think will help me with being president of the CSA. Going to my fourth year, I am quite ahead of where I need to be for graduation, so I will only be taking 2 to 3 courses at max per term, and none over the summer. So hopefully, by not working as much and not being in classes over summer, that is when the project will be focused on, and hopefully the majority of that will be done through the summer.
Awesome. Uh, how will you enhance relations with external stakeholders?
External stakeholders. Okay, so I think working closely with the CR team, or working closely with the VPCR and the manager of corporate relations, who deal with more of our corporate partners one-on-one personally on a daily basis. I think working with them to ensure that all of our corporate partners, as well as our external stakeholders, are benefiting from the CSA, um, where that's coming to events or getting their name out, or even working closely with ASPER and the Dean's Office and making sure that students are graduating to the high caliber that ASPER is known for, and making sure that when they go into the workforce, they have the, the skills they need to deal with any daily task that the company can give them.
Do you have a vision for the VPI role since it's still relatively new as president?
So with the VPI role going into its second year next year, I think it does have lots of opportunity to grow and kind of get new initiatives on board. This year, the mentorship was one of our main initiatives this year, and I think that worked out quite well this year, but of course there is always room for the improvement of any initiative. In my just personal opinion for the VPI role, I think it should be mainly focused on improving the mentorship program, working closely with the stakes, building that relationship. As I know, from year to year, the relationship with stakes have always not been the best. So improving the communication aspect, making sure that stakes and the CSA have a good relationship right from the beginning, and continuing that through right till the end of term.
So this question was actually touched on by the VPI candidates, but I guess as president you can do this as well. How do you plan to encourage student participation in STAGs and enrich the support system for Asper STAGs?
So I think, like the VPI candidates had mentioned, CSA and STAGs are the best opportunities for students to get involved. Um, One thing I say is STAGs have the nice advantage that it is specifically to your specific major, and I think for those that don't know what major they want to explore in, these are great opportunities to kind of work in that or get experience in that field. Um, yeah, really, like I said, I think just building the relationship between CSA and STAGs, making sure that STAG events aren't overlapping with CSA just because we want to give them the opportunity to get as much people out to their events. But yeah.
All right, what could you do to improve and help get different students on the CSA?
So I think, like I had mentioned earlier, I don't think experience is something that's needed to apply for the GC position. And I think CSA is the opportunity. When I applied for CSA second year, I really didn't have any experience coming into it for the role I had applied for. Um, but I think being on CSA has built my experience on my specific role, but also giving me the opportunity to connect with the student body as well as make new connections with friendships. And CSA is considered my second family, in my opinion. But I think just try and get the word out as much as you can. I think CSA is really a good opportunity not only to build your skills, but build new connections, make new friends, and also it's a good experience. Like I said, it's not only about grades anymore for me. It is about the experience you get and the connections you make.
So with that, what are the top 3 characteristics you will look for when recruiting the CSA executive and GC council?
So in regards to the executive team, I think, like I had mentioned, attitude for sure. I think you need to have a good attitude if you want to be an exec, just because it is long hours for sure, and you are committed to the student body. In regards to the executive still, I would also look for the experience. Experience, I think, is something that is beneficial to any role, although it isn't one of the main focus points I would really look at. Lastly, I think it's just kind of, I would say, your commitment level to being an exec. I think you need to have the commitment level of being there for the students, spending 20, 30 hours working on CSA stuff, but also being able to do last minute commitment or anything like that. In regards to GC recruitment, like I said, I don't think experience is something that's needed. It is a great opportunity. Of course, it does suck when we do have to cut people, but I always say, like, apply. It's always great to build on it's always something that looks good on a resume. Build your experience, build new friendships.
Excellent. So currently the calendar is saturated with a lot of events. How will you manage these events and add new initiatives?
So yeah, so that is one thing that we do see a lot is not only CSA events, but also lots of stag events. And with Asper's events, there aren't that many days in a year that we can host those events. But I think using the feedback and suggestions that students give, we can modify and enhance these events. Um, Seeing what they want to see at events, improving future events going forward. But we also have the opportunity to change an event or switch an event up, take something away from the CSA and implement something completely different. And that's what the student body really has the biggest say in, is what they want to see from the CSA when it comes down to events or initiatives or anything like that.
Awesome. What do you see as CSA's current biggest weakness, and how do you plan to strengthen it?
Good question. I think the CSA's biggest current weakness, I think right now, I would say it has gone better this year, but I think it's the engagement level of different groups. Um, from our events, we've always seen the normal students that are wanting to get involved come to our events. And one thing this year we've tried to push is getting more outreach to international students, stags, um, and things like that. And I think by providing not only networking event, but also more casual events like snakes and lattes, Lunar New Year, things like that, it allows the opportunity for students to come out if they don't really want to network and they just want a more casual, chill night. But I think, like I said, it's a engagement is a year an issue year after year. But I think we have been improving it, and I think just continuing to get the word out to students as much as we can, and making sure that that's what they want to see from the events we host.
This one's on the theme of reconciliation. How do you plan to integrate Indigenous initiatives and voices into the CSA and the Asper School of Business?
So I think I would work closely with the Indigenous rep in addition to the VPI elected, to make sure that we get more Indigenous involvement in Asper, but also on the U of M campus. I think with today's world, I think the Indigenous culture is something that should be involved quite frequently, whether that's a core requirement course or getting more involvement with cases like Stephanie has said, getting more Indigenous involvement with that way. But I think working closely with the Indigenous rep and making sure that their voice is being heard. We do have that role for a specific reason, and I think just making sure that they can collaborate with the CSA to make sure that their needs and their concerns are being voiced.
Awesome. So the last question we'll ask today, and it's kind of a fun one for
Okay.
you. Who or what is your greatest presidential inspiration? There's one behind me.
Uh,
Just
there's also one right there too.
right,
So,
exactly.
so there's two.
That's
Um,
right. Yeah.
I'm not really into U.S. politics, but I think just like I would say Obama. I know he's coming here, so I might go to that. We'll see. But I think Obama. I think he's done great for his 8-year term. I think his like new initiatives and things like that. It has gone downhill, I would say, in my opinion. But I think, like I said, not into American politics. But I think I would say Obama for sure. Sorry, Shona and Jacob.
Right. All right, thanks, Tony. Are there any questions left from the crowd at all, or no? We've got 5 minutes. If you guys have any questions, there's none left in the portal. If not, all right, I'll thank Tony for his time and his speech and the questions, and that I'll pass it